What's in it?
Cucumber and lettuce and onion and the tomatoes. I don't know. Here's my last tomato from the garden.
Yeah, this is like your cooking show.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, let me see.
Okay.
Well, Joey, you want to put the dressing on here?
And Cal,
Yeah.
how are you doing? Do you like this chocolate?
Yes. Let's just cover that back up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I have to get my appetite going, you know.
Sure. What do you want to say to the camera, Pop?
Is that your favorite drummer?
Hey, folks, this is coming to you from downtown Southern New York at the Cortini Health Spa, where everybody's healthy and happy, and we're going to have a big meal tonight, even though the sauerkraut was...
Yeah. Okay. We're going to sign off for a second here.
Wow!
See, baby? Oh, my.
Okay, let me do it. Oh, yes.
Fresh from over here.
Open, baby. Open it. Okay. Okay. All right.
All right.
See? See? Bring up. Yeah. Well, Tutu lady
Yeah.
got me as a baby, you know.
Yeah, who's
I was-
Tutu lady? Your grandmother?
Uh-huh. And your great-grandmother.
Uh-huh.
And I was 3 weeks old when she took me, you know. And, you know, there's no such thing as having a bottle with a nipple or anything, you know.
Yeah.
It was just breast milk, but there was no wet nurse around.
Yeah.
So I think my diet was of poi,
Uh-huh.
you know, poi and fish. I don't know how, well, maybe with the poi, you know, she made it runny, you know, until I was able to eat. And then, you know, we had poi and fish.
Yeah.
Then I was sent to school
Now, where did she live? Where did you grow up?
in Pahoa,
Uh-huh.
Pahoa, Hawaii. And it was, you know, Tutu lady, Tutu man, Eleanor, and me.
Mm.
And Eleanor is my cousin. And when it was time for me to go to school,
Yeah.
I guess I was 6 years old, so I went to school. Gotta stop that machine.
It's okay.
No, there's no clothes in it.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't speak any English because the language was Hawaiian at home. And so I had to learn the English language in school.
Mm.
We spoke pidgin English, Hawaiian. When it was high tide, when it was low tide, and
Did you have a boat?
no,
Just right from the shore?
yeah, but there were big pools of water, you know,
Yeah.
big pools,
Like lagoons?
yeah. And then he would throw the net,
Oh.
which would, you know, then he would work it himself by hitting. Now fish would all get in the net. And then he'd bring the fish
And
home.
this is all near Pahoa.
Yeah,
Is that near the Black Sand Beach?
you know. And I was brought up never to look in the mirror. And we had pineapple, guava, we had mountain apples, we had cherries, you know.
Would you say you had a decent diet growing up? because of their efforts, or were you poor? Or?
Because we were poor, you know, I never had any fried food as a child, never, or even growing up. No fried foods
Which
at
is
all.
good.
Which was, you know, boiled food
Yeah.
or charcoal, you know, fish.
Grill. Yeah.
Yeah, grilled fish. And I guess, you know, we were poor, but so wasn't everybody else. So you didn't know you were poor, you know.
But you always had enough to eat.
Oh, yeah, we always had taro. We always had poi and fish,
Yeah.
you know. And never had rice, never had soy sauce, never had any of those.
So you'd say it was more of a Hawaiian diet than a
Yeah.
Japanese or anything like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
And the foods were poi, fish.
Once in a while, you know, a roast pig from
Yeah.
a party, you know,
Yeah.
Kalua pig. The lady had her mother, and she slept at our house. She lived at our house. And on Sunday after Mass, and we had dinner, the lady would go out and visit somebody, you know, and she would leave me and Luahini at home. So what I would do, I would dress up Luahini. I think she might have had Alzheimer's or something, because I don't know in those days, you know.
Oh, sure. So your grandfather probably spoke English.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he would go
Not-
into Hilo.
yeah. Not well, but,
Yeah.
you know, he could understand and he could speak it, you
Yeah.
know.
And you would take the bus into Hilo?
Not a bus. We never had any buses. It was like a taxi, but it really wasn't a taxi. But it was a Filipino man in a banana, we call it a banana car, you know. And we would ride in it to go, and all the school teachers used to ride that. And so I used to ride with the school teachers,
Yeah.
you know, and stay the weekend.
What was the first time you went to the other islands? What other?
No traveling. We couldn't go anywhere. Died, a lot of them
Separated,
lost
yeah.
their legs, arm,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. But they did their bit, you know, for the war.
Sure. How are you? Am I scary?
Uncle Max, say hi.
You know? Okay. Okay. Well, let's you want me to stop it?
Yeah,
Okay.
just open the cover. So,
Prop this up.
I was sent, you know, to English school, and you didn't have to finish a sentence before somebody knew what you were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, let's see, went to church, went to Mass every morning, got up at 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
and went to church with my grandmother. On weekends, we went.
And you would walk there.
Yeah, we had no car, you know. And the town was be 75% Japanese, or 7% Japanese. 10% was Filipino, you know.
Yeah.
So, and it, you know, it was a cane field, you know, and they worked on it. And I guess the staple at home was fish and poi,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
And fish caught locally by the local fishermen, and you'd buy it.
No, Tutu Man went fishing.
Oh, so the ocean wasn't very far away.
No. He had to get somebody to take him in a car to go there. But he would sleep overnight in a cave, then salt it
Yeah.
so that we would have it for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Some of the fish was dried, you know.
Yeah. And did you ever go out fishing with him?
No.
Yeah.
No. Never, you know. Might have just gone with him because we're going to go swimming or stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Did you ever see any eruptions as a kid?
Yeah.
You saw lava?
Yeah, eruptions, but it never came our way, you know.
Yeah.
It was okay, but the sky would be all lit up, red and bright as can be, and it would reflect all the way down to where we live.
Were you ever afraid?
No, because, you know, it was part of the system and part of the culture. You know, you put up with Madame Pelly.
Oh, yeah.
She was the goddess of the volcano.
So you went to church, but still there was superstition and
Oh, yeah.
folkways and...
Oh, yeah. A lot of superstition, you know.
Uh-huh.
And then...
Do you have an example of superstition? I mean, when someone's... or any event that happened, or something happened to someone because of...
the superstition?
Yeah.
I can't think of anything right now, but...
Were there any witches or curses?
Yeah. They had kahunas.
Kahuna.
Yeah. Kahunas, which was like, I don't know, witch doctor. You know? But in Hawaiian, they were kahunas.
Bad
Yeah.
people, good people?
Sometime good, sometime bad. But they could throw a curse on you, you know. And, but Tutu Lady was always strong, and she says, it'll never touch us because I won't let it, you know.
Uh-huh.
And you couldn't whistle in a house because that was calling the devil. But I think it was because I was a girl, you know, and girls are not supposed to whistle,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Is that a Hawaiian thing or a Christian thing?
Hawaiian.
Huh.
So, you know, my hair, the way I am today, you know, I never look in the mirror to fix it, you know. I get up, I touch my hair, and that's about it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes somebody would get lost, and they would call the kahuna. And the kahuna would look for him. And once in a while it would work. You know, they'd find the person.
And after all.
No, around in Pahoa area, you know.
Yeah.
And we had pineapples growing in the backyard. Chickens, and they come running, and I just throw the seeds all over,
Uh-huh.
and they'd eat it up. And then I'd go in the forest there, look for their eggs. You know, they'd lay their eggs in there. They had nests, but they never used it. They'd go in the woods and lay the eggs.
Uh-huh.
So I used to go in there and get the eggs.
Uh-huh.
And
How
then,
many, how many chickens did you have?
oh, we might have had 8 or 10. But when I clucked, they all ran. You know, they all knew it was time to eat.
Yeah.
And the only time we killed a chicken is for birthdays. And there was always chicken and long rice, you know, boiled chicken with tomato. And that was a treat, you know, for a birthday.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we had that. Never got really presents
Yeah.
because didn't know about presents.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't say I miss presents because I never had it.
Yeah. So when would your grandparents have been born? Do you know?
Oh, gee, I knew it at one time.
What year were you born?
Me? 1926.
26. So they might have been, what, 35? 40?
Maybe 40.
40?
But they died in their 70s.
Yeah. So let's say, okay, in what year did they, you know?
What year did they die? Yeah. Uh, you know, as a worker, she worked from morning till night in the garden, you know, and everything.
Yeah.
And weaving mats, you know, rugs for the house. She would do that. She would make all my hats.
Yeah.
And then she would sew clothes for me, you know. And then it would have clothes with the undershirt, and it had buttons. So now you had to go to the bathroom so fast, you know, you couldn't get the buttons off fast enough, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, mistake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the mattress was soft on the bed that I slept, and it was from the fronds of the fern trees, because there's so many fern trees and they were so soft, you know. So I had that, and then maybe down for pillows.
Nice.
And then the Hawaiian blankets that she made, which is hanging in the bedroom. And she had cataracts, and she made these blankets.
Now, are they quilts or what are they? Or
Yeah, quilts.
They're quilts.
Yeah, Hawaiian
Yeah.
quilts. And I would dress her in a muumuu, and we'd go walking down the street looking for Tutu Lady, which to the lady's horror, you know.
That you were let loose outside.
Then yeah, her mother, you know. So I knew her mother, you know, which was my great grandmother.
Mm.
And
she was full Hawaiian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And couldn't speak English, no doubt.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
And Tutu Lady couldn't speak English either.
So, your exposure to the outside world in Pahoa was very limited. If anything, it was the
Right.
Japanese culture that you
Right.
got to know more than the white American.
Yeah, didn't know the American. The Americans came around, but there were tourists. And Tutu Man knew where all these heiaus and where the royalty were buried.
So, old ruins and things.
Huh? Yeah.
He'eau is what?
Oh, like a built-up grave, like, you know. I don't know for a better word, but, you know, they did bury people in there, you know, of royalty.
Yeah.
And Tutu Man knew where
The
all
location,
these
yeah.
places were.
Yeah.
Nobody else knew because he was a surveyor.
So
And
they
you know.
were tucked back in the
Yeah.
jungle.
Yeah, or down by the ocean, you know, or, you know, up in the woods, yeah. And the tourists used to come, and then one time, I think that was my first time I ever had a sandwich, because it was their lunch, you know, they had leftover, but the limousine would come and stop in front of the house and to go with them. But all of a sudden he stopped taking them because they were archaeologists, and they wanted to take the bones
Yeah.
that were there, and that was sacred. So, you know, he just said no. And then he told, I don't know who it was, the mayor or whatever in Hilo, don't ever send them to my house again because I will not take them, you know,
Yeah.
to these heiaus. You'll have to find somebody else. But they never knew anybody else that knew the place like
Yeah.
Tutu Man.
So he would get paid to take them on these tours. And
Some
you go to.
Well, I never went to the other islands until our father Damien, you know,
Yeah.
helped those lepers. I never went to Kauai or any other, only Honolulu and Hawaii.
Oh.
Those are the only two.
Uh-huh.
But I used to ride the boat to Honolulu, which left 4 o'clock in Hilo and got to Honolulu at 7 o'clock in the morning. Because
4 o'clock in the afternoon.
yeah,
Wow.
and then it would stop at Lahaina where they would unload the boat with I don't know
Which
what.
is Maui. Right.
Lanai, Maui is here and Lanai is right here. It's just the island.
Oh, okay.
So they would unload whatever was on the ship
Yeah.
for that island, and then go on to Honolulu.
Uh-huh.
And then Mama would meet me at the wharf.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Tell me about living on Oahu and Pearl Harbor. Where were you that Sunday morning?
Well, I was at Auntie Anne's house.
Which
And
was where?
huh?
Where was that?
Oh, it was just, I would say, 15 miles from Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
was where? I mean, where? What town was she in?
Wahiawa.
Oh yeah, on the west side, right? Or is that in the middle?
No. Oh, maybe in the middle, you know. But about 5 miles away was the Army barracks, and then another 5 miles was the Air Force, you know.
Yeah.
And that morning, you know, heard the planes and heard the guns shooting.
So the attack happened at 7 or so in the morning. What time had you woken up on that day?
I think it was early, you know.
You woke up early?
Yeah.
Before the attack.
Yeah.
So it was all quiet and calm on a Sunday morning.
And
Sun
so,
shining.
uh,
Do you remember the weather?
I can't remember. But we heard all this shooting, you know, like a machine gun, you know. It says, oh, it's the Army. They're having maneuvers. That's what we thought. They were just practicing,
Yeah.
you know. And then you see them coming down and strafing the hospital. And then you saw the red sun under the wing of the plane.
How close were these planes to you?
Well, you know, like here was Auntie Anne's house, and the hospital is like where the brick house is.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Probably
when they-
about 2 city blocks away.
So when the plane came, it was coming down like this and strafing all the way, you know, shooting.
So it was loud. Yeah.
And they really damaged the planes there and everything, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and Schofield Barracks and stuff, you know. But after a while it got quiet because they were looking to bomb, you know, important places.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this all unfolds first thing in the morning.
Mhm.
People are confused.
Mhm.
They didn't know. They knew. You knew it was the Japanese.
No, didn't know the Japanese. Only you saw the rising sun
Yeah.
underneath the plane.
But no one had really put it together yet.
Yeah,
So that morning unfolded.
yeah.
And did you stay at Auntie Anne's or did
Yeah.
you go?
Yeah, you couldn't go anywhere. You were restricted.
Yeah.
You couldn't travel. There were a lot of people got killed at night because then we had blackouts. We had to paint all the windows black, no lights on after a certain hour, and you know, you were restricted and you couldn't travel because there were soldiers and MPs gonna stop you. So you never went anywhere. You just stayed put.
So that whole day unfolded,
Yeah.
not knowing.
Right.
And then, how did you hear that Pearl Harbor had been?
Well, I think it was like in the afternoon, you know, over the. They said the Japanese had attacked Pearl Harbor
Yeah.
and got it on the radio,
Uh huh.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And before that, I guess they were calling all the soldiers to report back to the barracks, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have Q-tips.
Huh?
You have some Q-tips.
Well,
Beat them up or?
yeah, they were going to hurt them and everything because they figured they were part of that,
Yeah.
you know. So,
And who was going to do that? The Hawaiians? Who went after the Japanese?
oh, anybody if they saw them, you know. So the Japanese were kind of isolated in their homes
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
you know.
Probably scared.
Yes, and then some were taken to concentration camp, but you know, they didn't know if they were, you know, enemies or not. They just
Yeah. Yeah.
they just gathered all of them
Yeah. Yeah. I've
And-
heard about that.
and they were gone
During that week or during the day?
that week.
Yeah.
You know, anybody with a shortwave radio were taken, you know, because they figured they were giving them the signals to come into Pearl Harbor.
But in fact, that was not true.
Maybe some of it might have been, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some of them were loyal Japanese Americans, and
Oh, yeah.
everyone was swept up in
Yeah.
the fear.
Yeah.
So that day ends. December
Mm-hmm.
7th ends for you, everyone going to sleep, and then you wake up the next morning.
Hmm.
Then what happens? So you
We're
were
under martial law.
Yeah. So you were visiting, or were
Yeah.
you living at Auntie?
Well, I was,
And-
I was staying there. I had come for to see ophthalmologist for my eyes at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's how come I was there.
Yeah,
See, and my mother lived there in Wahiawa.
I see.
You know. Joey. Oh, you're all dressed. Okay, what else?
Yeah. Well, I'm talking to Mom about Pearl Harbor. So the week happens. You find out how many people are killed. That Pearl Harbor has been devastated.
No, didn't know in a week.
Uh-huh.
Just knew that, you know, they bombed the ships there and all that, you know.
Yeah.
And the airplanes were crippled at Wheeler Field.
Yeah.
And there was no way. Some planes did get up, you know, and
Dad, are we going somewhere?
Huh?
Are we going somewhere?
No. We're gonna go over to Kimo's too for a birthday party.
so, you know, so there was stuff. So, rice, well,
Yeah, underwear and the boxers.
you, I ironed it for you.
Oh, you did?
It's with your clothes. You know, all the staples, you know, there was hardly any canned goods. And there was some people that were smart enough, you know, they kept buying all the stuff and the Chinese kept selling them, you know, and so after
So the
a
Chinese
while,
were the merchants.
yeah, most of them were, you know. And, you know, you had a lot of chickens, you know, because the meat couldn't come in from the States.
Yeah. So there was food.
Yeah, it's food and, you know, fresh vegetables and fruits.
So then all of a sudden, an incredible military buildup starts to happen in Hawaii because the U.S. is about to go to war with Japan.
Yeah.
And so they start sending troops,
Mm-hmm.
building,
Mm-hmm.
repairing the fleet, taking...
No, they couldn't repair the fleet because they sunk the Arizona
But I mean,
and the other.
making it a viable harbor again.
Yeah. But, I guess they had carriers. I really don't know,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
that when they went down to the Guadalcanal, you know.
Yeah.
But then at that time, they didn't have airplane carriers. You know, when they went Guadalcanal, they just send the guys on this LST,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
went to fight there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then over the next 4 years, millions of troops go through
Yeah.
and becomes the interest and couldn't shoot up the Japanese Americans.
Well, they figure that the Japanese would not shoot another Japanese, because that would be their ancestors.
Well, yeah, but yeah,
A lot of them,
Did you tell them who you are?
yeah.
Yeah.
I gave him the phone number here.
Well, no, we
Who's
don't.
gonna do it?
Al Pisano's nephews.
Who? For what? Your plumbing?
No, the
your
glass.
Car. Your car.
No, there's a place from Syracuse.
Or you're going to go to Syracuse?
No, they're coming here. They gave me a better price than Alpazano.
All right. How much better?
$30 better.
Ben never put his clothes in the.
So that was, then you didn't have to monkey around, going up to Syracuse and is always good, but you go to those shows, you got the first 2 or 3 cores and they're yucky, and you go to 11:30 show and you get out of there at 12:30, so go to the fair and see the 3 top cores perform. Or mostly 4, even 8 drummers is plenty, plus the bass drums and the cymbals. And then their horn line comprises 50 to 60, and they have the contrabasses. You ever see those? Those are the big. They have a bell like that. They carry them over their shoulder.
Uh-huh.
But the whole ticket after that, we got about 20, 30 young girls. They're in the day,
Oh, yeah.
in all kinds of graphics. This with flag. Then all of a sudden they're in behind big curtains on the field. They pull strings, and then their costumes are black and white. But then the other thing is before it all happens, then the
They
rhythm
don't use the golf carts, they deposit.
make macaroni. In fact, now and then. In fact, I made it a years old, whatever. And the ship he came over on,
No kidding.
and the date he came over on, and the Raponi and Francisconi. These guys all came over, and then he went back to get my mother. But somewhere along the line there, there's a little discrepancy on boats coming back.
Yeah.
But it's all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before really young.
Yeah.
So was he a shoe
No.
man over there?
Was settled down in. Everybody went to West Virginia, work in the coal mines.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
So they first came to West Virginia. He was down
Well, my father, yeah, a bunch of them,
Uh-huh.
and then they were building the canal down here,
Uh-huh.
Barge Canal.
Yeah.
So it all came to Fulton, and
So when was that? Like turn of the century or?
19 early 18, but a lot of
Its reputation level it was sort of nice
you know.
who it was
Yeah, yeah.
how it went.
But
But
they-
if you needed money, if you
Well, if
needed,
you needed money, you had to pay back a lot of
yeah.
extra bucks.
But it was
you
like
know.
it was like a bank system when
Well, you know,
when the immigrants couldn't borrow from the local banks.
Well, yeah.
Would you agree to that?
Well, probably somewhat, but the interest was overwhelming.
Yeah.
There's down at the Fulton Hotel down there. Was one of the ringleaders. Or
Uh-huh.
then when these guys would come and make money, save money, and go back to Italy. They used to be met in the middle of the bridge, you know, and
Hey, Joe.
they have to have a payoff to,
Yeah.
you know, to get through the bridge and go catch the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably should tell me those stories. Yeah.
So, yeah, 1/4 of it might have served people's interest, but 3/4 of it was just business as usual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
So when I started to remember was down here in the corner where Goldberg's is was a train station because the trolley went right up Second Street.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in first grade, up where Wendy's is, he had a store up there. Yeah. And so that's when, see, I was born in 27, and but even prior to that, he had a store sold downtown,
yeah.
and so I remember that. And he had a small shop. We used to have to sew the soles on by hand then.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no machinery.
So he did not come naturally from a shoe repair background. What was his father?
Never really knew. Never really knew much. No, they didn't talk too much about things.
Yeah. About the old country. They
Right.
didn't.
But he was self-taught, and actually learned English on their own.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and learned how to write. My mother never knew how to read or write.
Yeah.
But she could. We used to go to the grocery store. The guy used to take the wrapping paper, you know, and this is your sheet, this is mine. So whenever you went to the store, you had to take your slip with you,
Oh.
and they write it down. But when she paid the bill, you know, $10, $12, whatever it was, she could check it.
Yeah.
Even not knowing how to write. Yeah, so that was, and then he built a hot dog stand. You know, had that built, sold hot dogs and ice cream.
Did you work at that?
No, I think I was only 4 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sold firecrackers, fireworks.
Yeah.
They were all in tours, you know, to make a buck.
Sure.
And then he self-educated himself musically. So there's a lot of guys in town that, you know, he gave lessons to. So they always had the Italian club used to be down here where Valley News is, just down the street there.
Yeah.
There was always an organization there or a band or stuff.
Yeah. So basically there are Italian people in the community, a lot of Polish people.
Oh yeah.
Like an immigrant population, huh?
Yeah, down First Street there, down past the Zurich, that was Italians.
Yeah.
Yeah. And over where the Polish home is, that whole area there was Polish. You know.
Do you remember discrimination? I mean, because you were Italian, or your friends, or any of those feelings surface?
No, not really. Not back then. Well, a lot of the cops were Irish, but however they got in there.
Yeah. Well, they staked out that territory a long time ago. Yeah. I can remember, I mean, speaking of people from other cultures, I can remember the migrant workers coming here. And and you couldn't talk, but you both knew.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys travel the crops, you know.
They start even farther north.
And them big bucks, they have their specialties.
Yeah.
And a lot of them hang around.
Picking apples and stuff.
And chopping onions and planting. Joey's got a good friend. He's Mexican, Joey. I guess he's one that stayed, you know. And he's a really nice guy. He brings Joey a lot of things. He buys a lot of leather and
Yeah.
makes a lot of leather goods.
Yeah. Very cool.
Onions and garlic.
Onions,
What's in it?
Cucumber and lettuce and onion and the tomatoes. I don't know. Here's my last tomato from
Yeah.
the garden.
Yeah, this is like your cooking show.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
Okay.
Well, Joey, you want to put the dressing on here?
And Cal,
Yeah?
how are you doing? Do you like this chocolate?
Yes. Let's just cover that back up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I have to get my appetite going, you know.
Sure. What do you want to say to the camera, Pop?
Is that your favorite drummer?
Folks, this is coming to you from downtown Southern New York at the Cortini Health Spa, where everybody's healthy and happy, and we're going to have a big meal tonight. And even though the sauerkraut was, wow!
See, baby? Oh, my.
Okay, let him do it. Oh yes.
Fresh move here, please.
Open, baby. Open it. Okay. Okay. All right.
All right.